Josh, I'm so happy to see you.
Good to see you too,
On the
Mom.
board, you're having quite a year on Broadway up at Ragtime. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's just into the middle of like the busy stuff, but I'm feeling good, feeling healthy, and I'm excited.
I feel like I've known you forever. You've created such a beautiful Broadway career. Do you ever just like walk around these blocks and go like, oh, I did that over there, I did that over there? Because that's what we're doing today.
Sometimes when I'm walking through on my way to Krispy Kreme, I'm like, you know what? Oh yeah, that's that one right there. For me, it's like the food spots. Anytime I'm like, oh yeah, and then there's the Imperial, Pizzeria, Richard Rogers.
It's all based on food?
Yeah. I mean, the theater, I kind of fit in there, but yeah.
Okay, well, we're starting right here. This is the Lyceum Theater.
Oh,
this is
man.
actually, I think your first big Broadway moment happened here, right?
This was my first Broadway lead.
First lead, yeah. Haywood Patterson, is that right?
Yep.
You played Haywood Patterson in the Scottsboro Boys.
Yeah.
Beautiful musical that the people who love it really love it, right?
Yes.
It was definitely one of those shows. Susan Stroman created this beautiful show.
Kander and Ebb. Yeah, Kander and Ebb's last.
Yes.
I still remember being right there. Like my picture was literally right on that marquee right there. I have a picture in like Nikes and athletic shorts. I was like, oh, it's my first show. We can fly that in.
It was wild because it was a Kander and Ebb show, so it actually had a lot of like Kander and Ebb, very big music, and you had you got to show off a lot of personality. But then it was also this dark, very sad story about these real guys. You played a real man. This like really happened.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was 26, and yeah, it's based on a true story. It was great to be able to really show that many sides of me and also reach into places that I hadn't reached into before. I mean, that role prepared me to do big roles like Aaron Burr and, you know, Bigelow.
Yeah.
So
Coalhouse Walker Jr. All those roles. 15 years ago is when it was, and you got your first Tony nomination.
yeah.
Now you're an old pro at the Tonys. 4 nominations now.
4 in. That one was really special. It's your first.
Yeah.
But also, we closed after like a month and a half
Yeah.
in like October, I think it was. And then so for everyone to remember us come, and I think we had like 11 nominations.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, whoa. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, yeah, it was
Yeah.
really special.
And that goes to show how good the show was and how memorable you were, because you're right, a lot of times things that are long gone don't get remembered like that.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful work.
Well, thank you.
I loved it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Oh,
Still listen to
Lyceum.
it. All right, well, let's go walking. You got a lot of places to stop.
Okay.
Let's go to 42nd Street. So Times Square.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, you're like a star of Times Square. People literally have stopped us to say they love Ragtime.
It's crazy.
What does it feel like? I mean, you remember when you first came here?
I remember when I first came here, it's crazy to be stopped now because the only thing stopping I was doing was stopping at the little corners to get pizza and street meat.
It's all about food.
I mean, measuring food, seasons. And so now to be recognized on the streets that I love so much.
Yeah.
I still feel like I just got here in 06. Something about my first trip, which was like seeing Gypsy, Wicked, Light in the Piazza, and now performing in the Vivian Beaumont, where I was obsessing over Victoria Clark is wild.
All right, here we are, 42nd Street.
Yeah.
42nd Street.
Come and meet them. This is where the action happens.
And also, this is where rehearsals happen. This is new 42nd Street. You've rehearsed Broadway shows here.
A couple times.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy because we're right under the Todd Hames Theater.
Todd Hames, which used to be the American Airlines.
Right. And we rehearsed Violet right here in New 42nd Street. And then
You did the show, you just
right in
rehearsed
here.
and go down. That's the show you did here.
Yeah.
As a roundabout production with Sutton Foster.
Colin Donald.
Colin Donald, who you're now in Ragtime with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have this scene towards the end of the second act, and it's like a really important scene, and it's just he and I on stage together. But it makes me think about when we did Violet, and we played Monty and Flick together.
Yeah.
We were 2 soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh, and also Jacob Keith Watson from Violet too.
Oh, wow.
So this is our 3 of us reuniting again.
Well, there becomes a web, right? When you've been around like you've been around, there's a web of performers. So it's kind of like, oh, Audra, you again. Like I've done that before. Like, like there's certain people you have like history with. How special is that?
So special. You mentioned Audra. We just did this like talk back at the Vivian Beaumont.
Oh, right, yeah.
The first time I ever met Audra, and by met I mean rode an elevator with her, was in this building here.
Oh, wow.
And I remember that moment because I had just gotten to New York, and I forgot what she was rehearsing, but I was rehearsing in the Heights, and we just go to the elevator, and I was like, that's
So this show, Violet, it was like a hit off Broadway. It was a little show off Broadway that the roundabout brought to Broadway. Janine Tesori musical.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely little musical set in the 60s.
Yeah, and I had, the first time I actually did Violet was in college at the University of Miami, directed by Michael McElroy, who originated the flick off Broadway.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to like 3 days ago, May 4th, when I did my Met Gala performance.
Oh yeah, by the way, you just casually mentioned that you opened the Met Gala.
Yeah.
With the most incredible musical number.
Michael McElroy came along and did the orchestrations for the choir, did like a little arrangement for them.
I love it.
It was beautiful to just like see him again in such a big moment, because he's been a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Violet.
So at the St. James,
Yeah.
you were in the original cast of American Idiot, which was the Green Day musical. Michael Mayer directed. It was a bit, oh my God, just remembering, I immediately had such a visual of that set and the video. It was like such a huge, and the flying and the.
It was wild, the scaffolding.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
The singing.
The singing was wild. Flipping out of the TVs 12 feet above the stage in my underwear and landing and being
Yeah,
like.
you were the guy in the underwear. What was his name?
Favorite son.
Favorite son.
Favorite son,
Favorite
baby.
son in the
Listen.
underwear.
Getting dressed on stage.
Tighty whities,
saluting,
right?
You know, that was fun.
And then you came here in voice only because
Oh.
that's what I was thinking of. You lent your voice to bring it on, right? Because Lin-Manuel Miranda obviously probably asked you to be one of the voices. Is that what happened? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
So I do that. Lynn asked me to sing Cross the Line, and they play it every night, which is so exciting. I was there opening night and heard it. That's one of my Broadway shows. You gotta count them all, though. You gotta count them all.
That's why a lot of people will tell you you've appeared there 3 times. I'm saying
Yeah.
2 and a little.
Two and a
You
little.
were singing every night. You were singing every night.
I was.
Pre-recorded. And then, of course, you got to do that beautiful Into the Woods.
Yeah.
And you were Prince, Rapunzel's Prince.
Rapunzel's Prince, getting to do the goofiest scenes with the late, great Gavin Creel.
Yeah.
And
Tell me about singing Agony with Gavin Creel.
I'll tell you a really cool story. One time we were doing the pre-scene before the Agony song,
Yeah.
and I went up on my lyrics.
Yeah.
And he like slapped me in the face. He was like, and I finally got back to where I was. But like that's what it was. Backstage, we would always be there. Just
He actually slapped
oh,
you
he
in the
slapped me
face.
because I was
He
like,
got you back.
I was like, brother. But backstage, we were always just sitting in the wings, looking at each other, and Gavin would just be like, "Can you believe how lucky we are that we get to do this? Like, isn't this crazy?" And that's how I feel.
Shubert Alley.
Come on. This is
at
when you
this.
see all the shows that are happening.
I have so many memories of coming here as a kid and just like
Oh,
looking at the
man.
posters.
I know, me too.
Oh, look, there you are. You're over there running
Okay,
towards
you know,
us.
it's wild. I'm gonna. This is wild for a second. Because you know when you know all the people in the thing,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like you know these people.
Yeah.
You know all these people. Like I know Jeremy. I've gigged with Reeve. Like, it's crazy.
Your friends are up on the poster.
Come here. Like, Natalie Venetia Belcone,
Oh my God, I know.
Westport, Connecticut. I did a production with her and Leslie Odom Jr. and Chuck Cooper, Being Alive. It was like Sondheim music and gospel and Shakespeare, directed by Billy Porter.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And now, you know, she just won a Tony for that. Yeah, it's like that's
Tony winner.
when you walk through this alley, the Shubert
Yeah.
Alley, that you're like, oh yeah, I've been here for a minute. God, it feels good. It feels so good.
Here we are,
Yeah.
45th Street, again, right in the heart of it all. That's a beautiful little theater, the Music Box. And you got to do one of my favorite, really special, I think it just celebrated 10th anniversary
Yeah.
of it, right? It was,
Opening.
what's the full title? Shuffle Along.
with the making of the 1921 musical and all that happened in between. Wow, I don't even remember.
Something like that. The original show is called Shuffle Along.
Yeah.
And basically, George C. Wolfe created this incredible musical that was Shuffle Along, and also the story of how it came about and what it meant to history, right?
Yeah.
And you played Noble Sissel.
Noble Sissel.
Who wrote Shuffle Along, right? One of the writers.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like a narrator in the show as well.
Yeah, he had a narrator role, and along with U.B. Blake, they were the writing team that created this incredible musical that debuted around 1921, close to Lincoln Center. Actually, so like on 63rd Street. But that was, I mean, me, Brandon,
The cast.
the
I
cast
can't get
is
over
so
the
stupid.
cast.
Just say their names.
Well, Audra McDonald, we
Brandon
already
Victor
talked about.
Dixon,
Yeah.
Audra, Stokes, Billy Porter, Adrian Warren, Amber Iman.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire ensemble.
My other memory of that show is that it was sort of put together, right? Like, I remember previews were crazy. Wasn't it like a lot of, you guys were in the thick building this show?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very long, it was like close to 3-hour show, and previews were, there were some nights when it would be like 3:15, 3:20. But George C. Wolfe was not shy about trying something. He's like, you have the time, let's do it. But I remember Savion Glover, the choreographer, you know, everyone was huffing, everyone was getting down, and I dieted down. I usually live around like 225. I was around 180 for that show because Noble Sissel is a smaller frame guy, and the tapping that we were doing was just insane. So I worked hard to play Noble Sissel, but Shuffle Along, oh man, what a great show.
The Imperial, this is one of my favorite of your credits. I love the musical Carousel, and you were a dream, Billy Bigelow. I still listen to you singing, you sing soliloquy to me all the time.
I try. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a time, what a show. Jessie Mueller, one of my favorite leading ladies, getting to do that across from her. And also, my son was born at that time on a Monday, at a time when I was singing the soliloquy, My Boy Bill. So for a while I called him My Boy Samson. But yeah.
So in your head, this is really tied to him and the birth of.
Yeah, I have pictures with him on my shoulders on that stage.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember the first time coming back after he was born to perform, like that whole show was blacked out for me. I have no idea what it was, but oh man, learned so much. Vocally, how to like maintain a really big sound for a huge role like that. And from like Renee Fleming, just like, how do you do this vocally? Like, I'm the main one, I'm like, hey, teach me this thing, you know, forever students. Learned so much on this show. Oh.
What is it like pulling off that voice? Like when you're actually singing it, you feel like same thing in Ragtime. Do you feel the audience sort of like the hairs on the back of their neck going up? Because that's happening when they hear your voice singing notes like that.
You know, I love the idea of making a large sound and ringing, because the vibration can really take you someplace.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like listening to something pretty. Big vibrations move you inside. It's almost like a superpower, just being able to like beam it out like that.
Josh, the Richard Rodgers Theater, Hamilton, that's a show you know about.
Hamilton.
You never did Hamilton here, but you weren't in the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's first Tony-winning triumph, and you started in the ensemble, right?
I did. I was man 4. The first construction guy you see, lights up in Washington Heights. That's me.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Did you name that character?
No, that was
Josh.
just. Julio. I was Julio.
Oh, you were Julio. Okay,
Yeah. So that was my first show. We started off Broadway, 37 Arts, but this was the show that, like, when I called my mom that I got this show, I was like, Mom, I'm in the ensemble of this show called In the Heights with this guy, Lin-Manuel Miranda. If this is the only thing I ever do, I don't need to do any more.
Wow.
I literally said that. I think I was 22 at the time.
What about it spoke to you in that way?
It was my language. I grew up in Miami, hip hop, R&B, salsa, and, you know, being around people from the DR and from PR while I was living in Washington Heights was a trip. Then coming downtown and getting to do this piece. My parents are Jamaican, so I know what it's like, you know, to have folks from the Caribbean Dominican Republic. Anyway, on so many levels it hit me.
Yeah.
A musical level, a Caribbean level, and Washington.
The food, maybe the
food.
Oh yes. There was a food element to that. We were in the bodega. There was food.
The bodegas, right? You do that, you go home, you're like, oh, after the show, I'm gonna go at like 1 o'clock in the morning, get like a pepperoni sandwich. Oh man. And then some of my best friends from that show to this day, Luis Salgado, Eliseo Roman, the Pirago guy, they were both groomsmen in my wedding. So this film means so much, and this theater means so much to me.
I remember hearing people on the street telling me, oh my God, you got to see this guy Josh Henry playing Benny, because you ended up playing Benny, and there was a buzz. There was a buzz about your Benny.
There was a buzz.
Benny was buzzing.
But Benny was buzzing. Chris Jackson, he was away for like a couple weeks for whatever reason, I know, vacation. And that was, it was my time to step in and just show what I got. And I was so ready. Getting that first couple times with Manny Gonzalez, was so...
On the balcony, yeah, all the moments.
All the moments when I butchered lyrics every now and again, and Lynn's in the wings being like, what's going on? All right here, Richard Rodgers.
I love that. When's the last time you sang When You're Home?
It's been a minute.
You want to do it right now?
When you're home, all the summer nights are cooler when you're home.
I love it. I love it so much. And then, of course, you came back to this theater because there was that reimagining of Porgy and Bess. Diane Paulus did, right? And Norm Lewis and Audra McDonald were Porgy and Bess, and you were Jake.
I was Jake.
You were the nice guy.
Yeah.
The sweet guy. The sweet,
Sweet guy.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that was so much fun. We started at ART, but here, I remember it was a rake stage, so that was one of the challenges.
Oh, wow.
You got to watch your neck. You got to watch your lower back. I remember I did get a lower back injury doing that show.
Wow.
Because, you're doing all this Ron Brown dancing, but everything is just tilted. But what eases the trouble here at the Richard Rodgers Theater is after the show or between shows on a 2-show day, you mosey across the street and you get your little pizzeria, a little grandma slice. And that makes the second show twice as nice.
So theaters change names all the time.
Yeah.
So this is the Lena Horne.
Right.
But it was the Brooks Atkinson when you were here in Waitress.
Woo!
Sarah Bareilles' big smash hit Waitress.
It only takes a taste.
At what point in the run did you do Waitress? I mean, so many fantastic guys got to do Waitress.
So many, including Gavin Creel.
Yeah, yeah.
Being able to sing some Sarah Bareilles songs, like some of my favorites, like You Matter to Me.
Yeah.
With the incredible Sierra Renee was really, really, really special. And I think my twins were just born at the time. So it was the first show I did after, the twins were born, and it's so weird to be back on the boards here.
You just recorded You Matter to Me, didn't you?
I sure did, yeah.
Yeah, you have a new album I love. Tell me about putting that together.
Joshua Henry live at Lincoln Center. I mean, I took all the musical theater songs that mean a lot to me and I put them together in a soulful acoustic way. And so I actually recorded it at Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
And just last month it came out. So
I love
glad you dig it.
I love it. I love it. And you just said you're singing songs that matter to you, including You Matter to Me. How about that?
Yeah.
First heard here at the Lena Horne when it wasn't the Lena Horne. So here we are, beautiful Lincoln Center. Isn't it crazy that you get to call this place home for a while?
I can't believe it. It's beautiful. I mean, the fountain, just approaching, going to work with this lake and this fountain, and it's just gorgeous. And it's really, I love it downtown, but it's just so peaceful up here.
Yeah.
Quiet uptown.
Yeah. True to form for you, the minute we got here, you pointed out a restaurant that's supposed to be really good over there. Just to make sure there's always a food out.
Listen, I really measure life in love and food.
Does this place hold anything? Because you're your first time actually performing here. Well, what's your
first time performing at the Vivian Beaumont? My first time I was there, I was in the top seats watching Light in the Piazza. First trip to New York, Victoria Clark. And so I always remember, and I always play up to the top seat, no matter what, because I always want to be mindful of the young artists who have dreams like I did.
So you're thinking of yourself sitting up there on top.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This has been quite a journey with this show, and Coalhouse Walker is obviously one of the greatest musical theater roles I believe ever written. You agree, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah.
Along with many other roles in this beautiful show, Ragtime. You've been living with him for a while now, right? You did it at City Center, now you've been on Broadway for
8 months.
8 months on Broadway. What's this chapter of your life like? If you like sort of think of what you're living right now.
I am feeling strangely peaceful. I think the ideas of having a dream, having kids, you know, having a life that's separate from the theater, a place where I go to like get love and acceptance and belonging has made a big difference in the way that I play Coalhouse. He goes to some incredibly joyous places and some really dark places. But at the end of the day, I know that I can go home to a family who's just we're gonna wrestle and hug together, and that is the dream that Coalhouse is singing about, right?
Yeah.
I see their faces, I feel their heartbeats when I come home. But artistically, like, it's the top, Paul. It's the top.
It must be really lovely to see the show get 11 Tony nominations. It's sort of the toast of awards season. You have 4 of your co-stars nominated alongside you.
The cool thing is like, it's really affecting people in a visceral way. Like, it makes you laugh out loud, makes you cry. And so we experience that in the theater, and you never know what's gonna happen, but we know that it's really touching people. So for the community to be like, you know what, to elevate us in that way with the nominations, 11, that's really special. Brandon, Casey, and I, we just hugged each other on that Tuesday on the stage, and we just feel like, this feels so good. Each of us have been in this business for like 20 years. Moments like this don't happen often. They just don't. With a cast, with a show, with the moment, with the organization aligning at the same time. It's so special. It's like getting hit by lightning.
What is it like building these little families, like the Ragtime family and the Broadway family, and you obviously have your family at home?
You build little communities.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this moment so special. But like, you know, whether it was the Richard Rodgers or the Music Box, seeing the doorman here, or stopping at the pizzeria to say what's up to the guys working there for 15 years, I feel like an accomplished New Yorker. You know what I mean? Like, I remember getting to New York and just being like, oh, what's this thing? And now there's not a place in Midtown where I don't feel like, I know where there's my family there. I know where there's like my crew over here.
Yeah.
Let me stop in over there. You know, that feels really special. It feels like you really belong somewhere. It just feels like a really complete circle for me.
Sort of in closing, after spending the last couple hours wandering around, what is it like for you to sort of look back and, you know, think about everything you've been able to do?
I don't know, it's wild to relive the moments. They each hold such a special place. I can't unsee myself as like a 22-year-old kid coming to the city. And now at 41, having developed relationships and practice so much, and my art is at a certain place, and those two things are coming to a beautiful merging right now, and it's just a deep sense of satisfaction.